Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for joining me. I definitely appreciate it. Today we have the Citizen Promaster Titanium 200 meter quartz diver, and this is model number BN0220-16E. And guys, this watch is inspired by the famous 1982 1300 meter diver that at the time had the highest depth rating in the world. Now remember, 1300 meters is over 4,000 feet. Guys, this is an incredibly cool watch. That was a really cool watch. Let's check this thing out. All right, guys, we'll get into this, but first check out my Amazon shopping channel if you like this or any of the other watches I've reviewed on my channel. I do get a very small commission if you buy from my Amazon store, so I definitely appreciate it. You know, typical Citizen watch box, outer watch box, you're gonna have the scuba tank inside. Y'all have seen these a million times. The only difference is with this one, you do get a strap extender right there. Let's go ahead and take this thing out here. And again, you've seen these little mini scuba tanks a million times. So let me show you this strap real quick. It's just a strap extender. Instead of like, you know, on a bracelet, it having a dive extension, this is basically what you would use to put this watch over a wetsuit. Massive, massive buckle on this one and the regular strap that comes on the watch. This is, you know, so it's easier for a diver to take the watch off when they're in a wetsuit. So there you go. What's that about? I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches, something like that. Anyway, there you go. All right, let's put this back, get this stuff out of the way. And of course, I'll tell you all the specs you need to know, and I'll put the rest of the stuff down there in the description field for you. Here's your first look at the watch. Pretty cool. And guys, I'm really on the fence about this square case, man. I'm not quite sure if I like it or not. I'm really on the fence. Maybe I'll decide kind of during this review whether I like the square case or not. I'm not quite sure. All right, there's that. And let me show you the hang tag. Here is your hang tag. I just took it off the watch because it's actually easier to try the watch on without this hang tag because it gets in the way a little bit. There you go, BN0220-16E, Citizen. There you go. Get all the stuff out of the way here. All right. All right. Interesting looking watch, man. This watch has a huge history. Again, back in 1982, they released a 1300 meter diver. I mean, that's just insane. And I'll get into the history of that watch here in a little bit. It's insane to think that even back then they had the technology to make a watch like that. And again, this is paying homage to that. There are a couple key differences between this one and the 1982 model. One, the 1982 model had the crown on the left-hand side, and the 1982 model had screws in each one of these crown guards, these 4 crown guards right here. So visually, that's the first major difference that you see. Obviously, the 1982 model is a lot thicker and just, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. But those are the main visual cues that you can obviously, you know, instantly tell. All right, guys, here are the 7 specs you need to know. I'll put the rest of this stuff down there in the description field for you. You're looking at a 45.8 millimeter super titanium Duratect MRK case. It's 14.3 millimeters thick. It's 45.8 millimeters lug to lug. It's on a 24 millimeter urethane strap. And again, I showed you that strap extender. Water resistance is 200 meters, which is 660 feet. You get the venerable E168 movement with about a 6-month power reserve, and you only get a mineral crystal, no sapphire with this one. Again, if you want to check out everything else, like, you know, titanium screwdown crown, you know, Citizen's proprietary Lume, you get a 60-click Uni-Directional bezel. Check all that stuff down there in the description field. Now, guys, this is an interesting watch for sure. And again, I'm not quite sure if I like this square case. Maybe I'll make my decision during this review. But anyway, this watch is based off the original, which is the 1259-2152-49, or there's also another model number you can look that watch up with, and that's SPN 56-053. And again, that watch had the highest depth rating in the world at the time, 1982, of 1,300 meters, which is over 4,200 feet. Let me go ahead and put that pic up for you. There's the original. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the original here. And the reason why, because there's so much history with that original watch. And I've got some pictures for you I want to put up on the screen. And these pictures come from two different places. One is a really nice watch forum, and one is an actual site. The first set is going to be from Which Watch Today, and this is a picture of the catalog from 1990. I guess these are still being sold up until 1990, where the watch was listed for 172,000 yen, which is about $1,500 today. But in 1990, you have to remember, $1,500 had the same buying power back then of around $3,000. So it was an incredibly expensive watch 40 years ago, actually, which was about 31 years ago. The original came out in 82, but they were still selling them up till 1990. So incredibly expensive back then. You guys got to remember, a dozen eggs was about $1 back then, as was a gallon of gas. So incredibly expensive watch. Now here's a close-up picture of the watch. You can see some more detail of that dial. Here's a close-up of the buckle with some no decompression limits ratings on there. And here's a picture of the Caseback showing the battery change interval. They didn't have the EcoDrive stuff back then, so you still had a battery you had to change out. And this kind of, whenever you got the battery changed, the dealer would make a mark on that Caseback. I'm not quite sure if the actual Caseback needed to be changed as well, because again, you're messing with seals and stuff like that. But anyway, you can see that back there. Now, the second set of pics comes from the Watch Freaks forum. Guys, I did a lot of research for you guys. Anyway, this first pic from them is the watch in its wooden presentation case with all the manuals. Super nice. Really nice presentation. Here's another close-up shot of the watch for you. Man, I love that kind of retro gold. I'm not a big gold watch fan, but I love the retro gold on this one. And here's a pic of the presentation case closed. All right, guys, let's get back to this watch. Now, again, the squarish case, it's going to be a polarizing feature, I'm pretty sure, with these, big, huge bezel guards right here. It reminds me of a Bell & Ross. Bell & Ross watches don't really do anything for me. But I mean, it's a good looking watch. I think it's a better looking watch than the Bell & Ross for sure. But that squarish case for me is, it's just one of those things. And again, the two major differences between this one and the old model had a left-hand crown. This is a right-hand crown. And the old model had screws right where those bezel guards are. The things I do like about this watch are many, though. I really do. The sandpaper dial, this has got like a sandpaper texture. I'm gonna see if I can catch it in the light, and I'll go ahead and magnify the image. Really cool looking dial, really, really neat. I like all those gold indexes, the gold border around the indexes, the handset, the little lollipop on the second hand. Unfortunately, the date window is just next to worthless. It's just way too small. It's really, really small. The engraved bezel is absolutely fantastic. Love this bezel. The paint they use, I mean, I don't know if that's, obviously it's not real gold, but I love that paint color and just the quality of the bezel itself. Let me show you this click action. Man, really, really satisfying click action. And of course it lines up perfectly. This is a 60 click bezel, by the way. Tons and tons of grip around here. I mean, it's aluminum insert. And the actual bezel itself is also titanium. And of course, everything lines up perfectly. This is a Citizen after all. I've never had a quality control issue with any Citizen watch I've ever gotten in my entire life. I mean, it's just, I don't know what they do, man, but Seiko could definitely take a lesson from Citizen on their quality control. The crown on this thing is a thing of beauty. I love this crown. Best crown pop of any Citizen crown I've ever used. It's signed. I mean, it's just got incredible action to it. Really, really butter smooth. Almost feels like a Swiss crown, I have to admit. Really, really nice. Again, the bezel has a fantastic click action to it. And again, it's just one of those things. Citizen does their watches right. Whoever they have to, QA their watches does a fantastic job. Now, the rest of the case is just sandblasted titanium. I mean, it's interesting to look at, but it just makes the watch wear a lot bigger than it is, in my personal opinion. The Caseback, nothing spectacular with the Caseback, and that's a shame because Citizen makes some of the coolest Casebacks on the market. They really do some really cool laser etching with their Caseback. With this one, man, this thing is just plain Jane. There is nothing going on with this Caseback at all. I mean, it just gives you some, basic laser etching, and that's it, man. It says Duratect at 200 meters and all that good stuff, but that's it, man. I was thinking there'd be like a helmet on there or some sort of other cool Citizen logos or text. I mean, there's just nothing on the Caseback. The strap, it's super stiff, and honestly, guys, not very comfortable. And also, this watch is a little bit small for my 8-inch wrists. I'm sure this will break in over time, but I do like Seiko straps, the silicone straps they use, because they're a lot more supple and soft. This thing is pretty stiff. And again, for me, it's just a little bit too small. Now, you can swap this out, of course, but this does have 24 millimeter lugs, which is a little bit odd. Citizen likes to have these odd sizes for their lug widths. I'm not quite sure why they do that. But anyway, I'll go ahead and try the strap on here in just a second and show you. It's not very easy to get on. That's also by design because they don't want this watch falling off. They want to stay, they want to stay on your wrist. So it being a little bit hard to get on is by design, and I'll show you that. So guys, I've thought about it the last couple of minutes. I'm just not a big fan of this square case. That's just me. But some of y'all out there might like it. It's still a very well-made watch. I mean, you could just feel the quality in this thing. It's just oozing quality. I love the dial itself. I love the bezel. Again, just the case, man. That's just not for me. Now, guys, there are also two other versions of this watch, and the proceeds from those other models, I'll put those model names down there on the bottom of the screen for you, will support the marine conservation activities of Conservation International. They have a darker DLC coating on the case. This has kind of got the lighter titanium look to it, whereas the other ones, they do another step and add that darker DLC, which is diamond-like coating on the cases. So that green and blue one are going to be a little bit darker than this one. So let's go ahead and try this thing on. And again, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. And let me show you why. See the little tiny flare at the end right there of the strap? It makes it just hard enough to get into the buckle where it's, guys, honestly kind of a pain in the butt. You've really got to kind of squeeze it through that buckle. And it's kind of a pain, man. And again, this watch is just a little bit too small for me with my 8-inch wrist. I mean, it does look cool. It looks like I'm wearing a Bell & Ross. It's, But again, very, very, very well-made watch. I love their quality control. And I love that dial, and I love that bezel. But man, just those 4 case guards just really, really bump out there. All right, we're going to take it off. Let me give you a Lume shot here. If I could take this thing off. And it's a pain in the butt to get off. All right, let's go ahead and kill the studio light. Kill the monitor. This thing's already going a little bit. Now, this has a lot better Lume than a whole bunch of other Citizen dive watches I've reviewed recently. I don't know if they're adding an extra coating or what they're doing. But this application, the Citizen's proprietary Lume, I mean, it is really, really bright. Good job, Citizen. Really, really nice, man. All right, let's go ahead and cut everything back on. Let's go ahead and finish up this review. I'd really like to know y'all's thoughts on this watch, really on the case. I mean, what do you think about this case? I know it's going to be polarizing, man. I mean, some people are going to absolutely love it. Some people are going to hate it. Some people, be like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Tell me what you think about this case, man. It's just kind of hard to get over how much it bulges out like that. These are currently going for $450 on Amazon's website. I'll make sure to put a link down there in the description field for you. And really, tell me what you think of this watch. All the different colors, the square case. Tell me what you think of this thing, because I'm really interested to see how this watch is going to be received. I probably wouldn't wear the original model either. I mean, it's just too big. Who needs 1,300 meters? And nobody even really needs 100 meters, tell you the truth, of water resistance. It was more of a marketing thing. And those watches now are going for about, around $2,000, if you can even find one. They're one of the grail divers from the Japanese manufacturers. I mean, good luck trying to find one of those things, you know, and obviously trying to find one in good condition. So, guys, as always, if you like my content, and I hope you do, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell. I really appreciate it when you do that. Anyway, guys, tell me your opinions on this watch. I am very curious to see what y'all think of this watch. Guys, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next review. Take care.